Joining us now is Atiba Madyun. He's the president and founder of the research organization Party Politics U.S. Atiba, are Biden's plans with these executive orders to tackle systemic racism and social injustice, do they go far enough?
Well, I think what we saw yesterday and what Nathan just mentioned about Secretary Janet Yellen being the first woman to head up the Treasury Secretary speaks to a number of things. I mean, is it enough? No, but what the Treasury Department, for instance, did yesterday in terms of moving forward a policy to put an African-American woman on a $20 bill was great. But then today, the executive orders that he signed are a way to put more of those $20 bills in the pockets of Black women. And so what we're seeing the president do is take steps to move forward the country and to respond to what 81 million people voted for on November 3rd. In terms of Nathan said, what about the 74 million other people? Today in the president's statement, he spoke to the fact that when we work to help everyone, when we work to help these different groups that have been disenfranchised and left behind, and still we're really helping the entire country. These are things that he's putting in place that still need to, in some respects, go through some legislative avenues. But it's putting us on a better footing and a different footing than we've seen in the past.
So that was my next question to you. Why not work with Congress and come up with some kind of legislation, lasting legislation instead?
Well, let's look at what we just saw today. Most of the Republicans voted not to say that it was unconstitutional to hold the president accountable for inciting a riot that led to an insurrection at the United States Capitol, one of the most secure buildings in this country. And what we keep seeing the Republicans do is basically they deny the fact that racism exists, and they're denying the fact that January 6th happened and that there was this insurrection. So in trying to work with the Congress, there's going to have to be a lot of pressure that's going to come from the people for us to continue to putting our foot on the pedal and saying that enough. The president talked about in his in his inaugural address, that this is about redeeming the dream. Enough is enough. There are too many of our communities that are tired of this. And, even in terms of the conversation about how his executive orders address some of the things from the former presidents talking of the pandemic and the virus as being a Chinese virus. I mean, his incendiary comments have hurt too many communities of color in this country, and so enough is enough.
Yes, countless Asian Americans targeted and harassed because of Trump's offensive and racist comments. Atiba, from criminal justice, police reform, voting rights, healthcare, education, economic mobility, boy, that is a tall order. Which areas do you think we will actually see immediate results?
It's kind of hard to say. I think that the tone that the president is setting right now, he's come in and it's a little bit different because what we're seeing is not just economic, but it's also physically impairing. And I'm speaking to the fact that when former President Barack Obama came into office in 2009, he inherited an economic mess. What President Biden has inherited is just, no one would want to walk into what he has. But I think he's the right person for the job right now. He's got a great person in Kamala Harris as his vice president. He's put together the most diverse cabinet that we've ever seen in the history of this country. He's going to have a lot of different voices and a lot of different people, the actors who can help to advise him in terms of the way forward. Yes, he's still going to need help on the legislative front. And I'm interested to see where they're going to be the pathways that he's going to be able to find some synergy to work with Republicans. But like President Obama, he's going to end up having a lot of roadblocks in the Congress. And it's going to take people coming back to voting again in 2022 to give him more leverage in the Congress before he's really able to move forward the agenda the way that we think that it needs to be on these different issues.
But the makeup of Senate is now different, 50-50, with Kamala Harris having that final vote.
It is 50-50, but we also have some moderates who are going to make it difficult, and some moderate conservatives like Joe Manchin from West Virginia, who may vote with the Republican caucus on some things. So it's not always going to be a straight Democratic vote. There are a lot of things we're going to see and witness over the next few weeks. The next week and hopefully a week after, we're going to see some COVID relief. There are a lot of Americans that are begging right now for help. The president listed a number of statistics today. 1 in 10 African Americans out of work. 1 in 11 Hispanic Americans out of work. 1 in 7 Americans, 1 in 5 African Americans, and 1 in 6 Hispanic Americans fighting right now to get money to put food on the table. And Congress has debated and voted down putting $2,000 in the pockets of these Americans who really need help right now. So these are the things that we're going to be seeing debated over the next few days.
All right, we'll leave it there. Atiba Madyun, thank you very much.